Hey everybody, this is Perch. Some breaking news, and this is one of those kind of I don't know. It's how do you read this? So the basic news is that Oni Press, okay, Oni, who I don't know, produces quite a bit of work in a number of different areas, has been recently in the spotlight over genderqueer and what Vermont, some states' efforts to get rid of it or to ban it. Actually, sorry, not to ban it, to actually sue Oni for putting out pornography. But the publisher, James Lucas Jones, and the vice president of creative and business development, Charlie Chu, were both have left the company, and it is really unclear from the statement and what people are saying. Was it their choice? Was it not their choice? I don't know. It's always like a read between the lines kind of thing, and I'm sure we'll hear more and everything else. But when things are ambiguous and sudden, it typically means it was not their choice to leave. Generally when people announce that they're leaving, it's like Joe Quesada, the person themselves writes a statement, and then there's a lot of like, "Oh man, we'll miss you," yeah, and it's all queued up. Like with Quesada, when he announced he was leaving, he published his statement. Like within, you can look at the timestamp. Within like a minute, several people at Marvel like, "I will always respect the generosity of Joe." Like they knew, so everybody had sequenced this stuff up, so it was all there. But this is a different case. So this is basically the beat breaking the news that James Lucas Jones, now he's been with the company for 18 years. He went from editor in chief to publisher, so basically ran the company. Not basically ran the company, actually ran the company. It's actually just ran the company. And Charlie Chu, VP of Creative and Business Development, is a pretty critical role for a company like Oni. Now, this role would do a number of different pieces, but it's a business development to kind of draw your attention to because Oni, as a company, wants to be acquired. That's fundamentally what their goal is. Their goal is not to be a independent little publisher hanging out forever. Their goal is to get bought. And so, given this, the sudden removal of the creative and business development head, I don't. Again, it's you can go crazy trying to read between the lines, but there are definitely some lines to be read between. So anyway, this is a bigger step. Oni is not the biggest publisher, not even the biggest medium tier publisher, but certainly puts out quite a bit, and is has been a reasonably significant force in comics. And now the company has nobody in charge of it. I mean, somebody is clearly in charge of it, but by James Lucas Jones leaving, there's not a leader of that company. So somebody's going to have to get named pretty quick. Both these people have, like I said, Jones had been for 18 years. I think Chu had been there for 12. These are long stint people. So the B reports that when reached for comment, the only comment that was made was Oni Lion Forge Publishing Group, LLC, recently made personnel changes and will continue in its mission of publishing groundbreaking stories by the best creators in the industry with a focus on diverse, inclusive, and unique stories. So again, by that statement, yeah, they were removed. When the statement from the company reads that way, like a lawyer wrote it, which a lawyer undoubtedly did write it, and says things like, "We recently made personnel choices or changes," that doesn't mean that there was a happy retirement party and these guys went out the door. So why were they removed, and why were they removed suddenly? 2 weeks before San Diego Comic-Con, the mystery unfolds. But anyway, it's been strange, and this company's had a weird recent history. It's Sarah Gaidos stepped down fairly recently. Had basically as a mutual, one of those, we're both going to agree to leave, so nobody has to say they got fired. The company got a bunch of criticism when they did a big layoff during the merger, and there was claims that all the people who got laid off were non-white people, I guess is the best way to put it. So not the best way to put it. That was the criticism. That were all people of color that went on, and specifically female, queer, and disabled staff were all cut. And I guess I don't know what that meant for who was remaining. They're all white guys. I don't know. It was Oni Brony. No, wait a minute. That's something else. Anyway, so Oni, again, not the biggest company, and certainly they have problems. And you do kind of wonder if some of the problems have been the reaction to this lawsuit that's going on around genderqueer. And Genderqueer is a book that has been banned from a number of schools, and then schools bring it in anyway because it's this coming of age story about somebody who discovers itself, but it's graphic in certain areas. And the obscenity lawsuit in Virginia is potentially a bigger deal for them in the sense that, it faces pretty significant fines, and based on kind of how things have been pursued in Virginia, it's going to eat up a lot of cash and attention. And if Oni's trying to get bought, and that is their goal, it's not the attention you want. So I don't know. What's weird, the Beat notes this statement from Oni Lion Forge Press, which Jones was giving a speech about how the company was stronger than ever coming out of the pandemic. And Jones said, Oni Lion Forge Press has a staff of roughly 30 and expects to add more. By the way, that's an interesting number. So when you think about a company that's worldwide distribution trying to get acquired, it's a staff of 30. Now, some of those people are full-time, some are contractors, but in fact, probably more on the contracting side than the full-time side. But anyway, staff of roughly 30 and expects to add more. Jones said it plans to publish 40 original graphic novels in 2022, 60 counting books delayed by supply chain issues, in addition to an extensive list of periodical comics, which he noted was consistent with our output in recent years. Oni books are distributed by, to the trade by Simon & Schuster. And then he notes we are well known for our middle grade and young adult graphic novels, so it's fair to say they play a large role in our list every year. Jones said we are seeing growing demand for middle-aged nonfiction as well as young adult contemporary. Yeah, so is everybody else. He added he will be watching how trends shift because of the pandemic. Already, he explained, we're seeing growing demand for genre comics outside the superhero kind. While science fiction and fantasy have long had a shelf presence, we're seeing a renewed and reinvigorated interest in horror and all of its subgenres. Okay, that's fine. So what's going on here? Well, as I mentioned, Oni is trying to get sold. That's the goal for a lot of people. Is Oni is trying to get sold. And I would guess any publisher that is not Marvel, DC, or Image have in their mind getting acquired. That's the state of the world right now, and that's what people are shooting for. Actually getting acquired, making that happen is a deeper trick, but that's their plan. Typically, investors get tired, and there's a lot of investors getting tired right now as their portfolios have shrank due to recent inflation and kind of stock market collapse, the world rolling into bear territory. And so you're going to see this exact story play out a bunch. So very common in startups is if the investors and the board become dissatisfied, impatient, frustrated with the speed at which the CEO or person in charge is positioning the company for sale, and typically that includes the VP of Business Development or the people who are, trying to basically package this stuff up, then they will do a cleaning of the house where they take out the management. They bring in somebody who is specifically, usually comes from either a portfolio company or an investment bank, and they work really hard to package the company to sell. I've heard that there are several companies. I know, I don't know what to say. I know firsthand that there is high interest in a lot of these independent companies to get bought. Even if that buyer is like Uncle Perch over here, there's plenty of interest. And so if the investors are looking at this going, we really don't want to do another round. We're tired of pumping money into this thing. So therefore, we want speed on our investment. Take out the leadership. That's my speculation, is that they took out the leadership because they were dissatisfied with how fast things were going. And now we have this situation. Pretty crazy. Anyway, so Oni has no head of Oni right now. There's nobody in charge. I'm sure we'll hear more in the next coming days who gets put in charge and hopefully some of the reasons behind it and what people are thinking. But for now, that's where we're at. So yeah, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.